Hello, my name is Matt Troop and I serve as CEO of Conway Regional Health System, and this is your September 15th weekly COVID update. At present, we're at a COVID census of 37. 9 of those patients are what's considered recovered, and the balance, 28, are considered currently positive, currently active cases right here at Conway. The good news is that we continue to see, like the state, a decline in our total census and total number of admissions. I want to talk to you a little bit about hospitalizations and how that's changed with COVID today versus pre-vaccine availability. First of all, let me state that 85% of our patients since June 1st that have been admitted for COVID were unvaccinated. Also, what's interesting is that if you look at our average age of patient today, they're much younger. In fact, the unvaccinated population that's admitted to Conway Regional is 13 years younger than the vaccinated population. If you go back to pre-vaccine availability, it's about 10 years younger today on average than we were pre-COVID. Well, some of you may be wondering, well, why is that? Well, the data actually does give us some answers. One reason is the vaccination rate. If you're over 65, there's a 78% chance in the state of Arkansas that you've been vaccinated, so you have some protection. What's also interesting is the rate of hospitalizations with COVID have decreased slightly from today than from pre-vaccine availability. Again, some of you may wonder, well, why is that? I read a recent article on this topic that was maybe suggesting that there was a lesser severity of the virus and maybe we shouldn't be as concerned about hospitalizations since the rate of hospitalization has declined. If you look back at January 28th, which is really a date before widespread vaccine protection, and you were to say, okay, January 28th of 2021, back all the way to the inception of COVID, what was our rate of hospitalizations? At that point, we had 232,338 total COVID cases to that point. We had total hospitalizations of 13,505. If you divide those numbers, you get 5.8%. So 5.8% of those active cases ended up being hospitalized at some point. Let's fast forward to today. If you look at total COVID cases through September 13th, all the way back to March of 2020, and divide those same two numbers, total cases over 470,000, total hospitalizations of over 25,000, divide those two, you come up with a number of 5.3%. So you might say, well, that's great news. Hospitalizations, the rate of hospitalizations are declining. The data does seem to suggest that. Age is a direct corollary to admission probability. If you are blessed enough to make it to 80 and 85 years old, you're gonna live with some comorbidities, perhaps. You're gonna have congestive heart failure, hypertension, diabetes, etc., which are pretty prevalent in that age group. If you're 55, you're less likely to have those comorbidities, and if you do, they're not gonna be as severe as when you're 80. So what we see in hospitalizations is a direct reflection of what we see in the vaccinated community. Again, more data, more evidence to show that ultimately what we have is a vaccine hesitancy and a vaccine acceptance issue here in our state. The more those younger populations, particularly that under 65 age group, take the vaccine, the less likely admissions are to happen. And again, as we've talked about week after week after week, the data is clear, the evidence is clear. The vaccine is safe, it's effective, it reduces the severity of illness, reduces the spread, and it reduces your likelihood of dying from COVID. So this is my weekly encouragement to you, your family, and to others you care about. Please consider taking the vaccine based upon the evidence and the support of what it can do to help us return back to normal in our community. Thank you all and have a great week.